Hey everyone, it's Matt from the Mattermost product design team here with an early look at a new capability we're exploring that captures and organizes Teams knowledge right within Mattermost. Teams already rely on Mattermost for their daily collaboration and decision making, and even use it as a knowledge base of sorts. But important information can often get lost or buried within threads and conversations, and those decisions sometimes don't get captured effectively. Wikis can help solve that by giving you a lightweight, flexible space to document processes or specs or standard operating procedures, all within the same workspace that you're already using for collaboration. Because Wikis lives within that self-hosted Mattermost environment, it can reduce the need for external tools like Confluence or Notion while keeping everything secure in your environment. Let me show you how it works. All right, so here we are in a new channel. We're going to use this channel for the creation of a wiki about wikis. So you'll see there's a few new things here up in the header of the channel. We have a messages tab, and we're looking at adding wikis at this level as a new tab. We're going to call this UX specs. Let's call it wikis UX specs. So this creates a new area in the channel for wikis UX specs and creates a structure where we can add pages, and by default it starts with its own new page. So here we're going to start with an overview page, and I'm going to save some time by just copying and pasting some content. So here we go. We have our background, our purpose. We're going to add some more details here. We're going to put this, let's say, in progress. So I'm going to publish that page, and now we have our first page in the wiki. I can add additional pages. Like that. So here we have some content I just had on the side, but you can see already we have the ability to have headings and formatting for paragraph content. We can insert images. This is just an image I pulled in. And we have, basic formatting stuff and a few other additional elements in this page. I'm going to say this is in a rough draft state, and I'm going to publish that as well. So now you can see we have two pages along the left-hand side here. If we want, we can take a page and add it as a subpage. So now we have this hierarchy. Under overview, we have a bunch of different stuff. We can do that. I can add another subpage if I want under the overview section. Let's call it user flows. We're going to get some content about user flows in here. So now we see I've just pasted content in about the initial user flows we have. I've got a table of the flows and the descriptions. And again, I'll show that as a rough draft. I will publish this. And now we've got another subpage. Let's say we wanted to start documenting some of the basics of the actual user experience. So I'm just going to document how to create a new wiki and the specifications from a user experience perspective. So again, I'm going to cut and paste content in here that I have just on the side. But again, I'll put that in rough draft. And we'll see we have the ability to have this heading. I can change the heading from, let's say this is H1, but I want to change it to H2 or even H3. I can do that very easily. I'll keep it at H1. I can select a particular piece of text and bold it. I'm going to do that in this case. We've got an image here that I want to actually resize and center. So I'm going to just drag the corners and scale it down a touch because it's a bit too big for my liking for this purpose. And that's that. We can do that, or we can left align it if we'd rather have it left aligned. Any new line you have, you see this prompt, type / to insert objects or start writing. So I can start typing just like I normally would, or I can enter that / command and I can insert, a heading, new heading. I can insert bullet lists, list item 1, list item 2. Let's say I want to change that. Actually, I think this should be a numbered list. I can do that very easily. I can insert a quote by either using the sort of markdown syntax shortcut with the angled bracket space. Now I have a quote. I can also insert quotes the same way we were looking at before. So I can go through that menu and start entering a quote that way if I want. Other things I can insert, as mentioned, a code block, TR, that sort of thing. I can enter in basic code elements. I can also insert links to other pages. I want to insert a link to that overview page. I can give it the text and insert that link. And now I've got a link to that page here. Additionally, we can have a number of other elements to insert, like a basic divider. Let's just choose a different image. So there we have our image. Again, I can scale it down. I can center it if I want, and that's that. So that's the basics of editing. This is not perfectly polished at the moment. Again, this is early concepts. Some rough edges to work out still, but you can see how it's really coming along. And that simplicity of adding documentation for your users is actually quite simple. So we have, as mentioned, our page structure along the left-hand side. We can hide that if we want to just focus on the current page. That can be helpful for the editing experience. I can also, if I need to focus further and get everything entirely out of the way, I've got this expand button. And now I can, do my editing here. Let's say, all that stuff I just added, let's get rid of that and go back to where we were before. So now I'm kind of back into the state there. So that's the basics of editing a page. We can have multiple wikis in a channel. So let's say, we've got our wikis for UX specs here, but what about tech specs? So maybe we have sort of implementation specifications as well. So I'm going to create a new wiki. And this is going to go in the channel as well. And this is our tech specs wiki. So we can have multiple pages for that if we want. And I can start, inserting as I want. Add some content. I'll make this the H1. This is some test content or coming soon. And now I've got a basic page for the tech specs as well. So this is a separate new wiki that's going to keep it isolated for technical specifications. And I've got another wiki all within this featured channel that showcases the documentation capabilities we have all kind of together. So we can kind of go switch between them quite easily, but also have our messaging content, with the team in there as well. One other thing I'll add in is the ability to comment. So commenting and collaboration is quite simple here, as you might expect for a standard sort of documentation flow. Obviously, that's an important aspect within Mattermost is collaboration in general. So having this ability to add comments is obviously paramount for a product like this to work within your context. And so having the sort of key core messaging capabilities from Mattermost applied to wikis is kind of the goal here. And you can see that's working already. So I've got a root post here, which shows the selected element here. I've selected users can create. That shows here as a root post and the initial comment on that. And I can reply just as I would with pretty much any thread in Mattermost. And so that's kind of how that appears. Let's say I add, another comment, just so we can see that there are multiple comments. Now that's added as a thread as well. So we have, we can click through to those comments, and I can also have a rolled up list of all comments for the page. So I can hide the other stuff out of the way for now while we're looking at this, but I can see, all the comments that are related to this creating a new wiki page are here visible to me. I can dive in, go back to them. I can go back to the list, and I can kind of go into and add replies. We can also see, if we go back to our threads view, all of those comments are actually rolled up and listed in this threads view as well. Those of you who are familiar with the threading capability in Mattermost, all the threads you participate in kind of are collected in this threads view. So if that's the way you want to work, you can kind of do that very easily and then get back to the wiki from there if you need to. So that's that. We can also resolve a particular thread. So I can go in here, click resolve. If we know this is resolved, we can see now I already marked it as resolved. So we can unresolve it if we want. But now we can see in the comments list, we have a list of our comments, but we can see that the one we just resolved is marked as resolved. And we can now filter to only the items we want that are open, or we can go back and look at the ones that were resolved. So that's the core capability of comments. We're working on lots of other things. You can see when I selected something, we have this AI button. At this moment, we don't have that yet working, but we're having lots of ideas and ambitions towards how we can incorporate AI into the writing flow right out of the box, because obviously nobody writes from scratch anymore with the help of ChatGPT. So having that built into this is definitely top of mind as we work towards this exploration. One other thing I should identify is the ability to mention. So let's say this aspect is owned by a particular person. So let's say this is owned by me. I can tag myself, or someone can tag me, to which point I'll be notified just like any other mention. So that's the other aspect I neglected to mention, but I think that rounds out most of the details of this demo. Thanks for watching this early preview of Wikis in Mattermost. We're excited with the possibilities that this concept opens up, and we'd love to hear your feedback as we continue to shape the experience.